evaluations of what they did. So, April, you did a great job. You quoted from Jim's speech. You came up and used the word of the day. The only thing that I noticed from yours is that maybe you were a little bit unprepared, and you said ahs and ums more frequently than you usually do. So that would be my only critique. John Cushman, that was a great evaluation. It was the best one I ever seen you give. I mean, the best one, really.
Thank you.
Awesome. And the reason for that is you related to the topic and you made it funny too. So you guys had kind of a funny thing going there together. You talked about the auto accident, how it could have been an auto accident, and all of a sudden there was a twist to it. And you made sure that you reminded people of that. But you didn't mention that she used the props. She pulled out the the old scary gloves. And then, Jenny, I mean, like, what can I say? You came up here for the first time. We've never seen you do this before, and you're probably, obviously, very good at it. You talked about what's important in his speech, and from his speech, you wanted to get him to find out what's important from the person. So, I mean, that was a very poignant point, because if you don't know what the buyer wants, then how can you provide what they need? And the only thing that you said you appreciated his time. I thought that was a very nice touch. And you read from the book. That's the one thing that I would stress to people. Try to kind of read over what is required in it, and then stick it in your brain. And when you come up here, just don't read it from the book. Bring it out of your brain. Overall, the beginning of the meeting was a little bit sketchy, and we didn't know what roles, kind of unscheduled. So we really got to I think we should still continue to pass around the meeting schedules and find out who's doing what for the following, until we get this online thing going, because apparently it wasn't working, and I mentioned that earlier, and I won't harp on it. We said the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag, but we don't necessarily have to do that. It's nowhere. Jim told me it's nowhere in the bylaws that we have to do that. So, but if we do, we should have the flag up somewhere. Standing there with the flag, you know. So let's get that under control. We had to figure out who had to be on the list. So anyway, John, you gave a good introduction, and the new member gave great introduction as well for evaluation. John, I think you had 2 intros to your speech. You had someone come up here and give an intro, and then I thought it was your speech starting. So basically, when you get up here and you start talking, that's when the timer starts, and that's when everybody expects you to start giving your speech, not outlining what you're going to talk about. So if you're going to talk about something, just talk about it. Don't outline what you're going to talk about. And don't ever apologize for whatever is bothering you as an excuse before you give a speech, just in case you fail at your speech. You just give your speech. You're here to fail, and we're evaluating you to make you better.
I think it's next week.
John used Stolid, and I think who else used Stolid? April used Stolid, and those are the words of the day. And thank God for Joseph, who came up with the Stolid. Now I'll turn it over to you.
I think if you do the online, you need to put 4 weeks in advance.
Okay.
Because I can't. 1 week in advance is nothing for me.
But
planning.
did you sign up for the second week?
I didn't see. I didn't. It didn't scroll down when I went.
It didn't scroll.
Not this time. Not when I was there.
Did anyone print out what was on there?
See, the thing with the online is you have to check it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you don't get an update, then you got to go to the website again, and you got to check your email. With this thing, we send out 1 email. Everybody knows what's going on the following week, and then we're good. That's the way we've been doing it.
Well, the other thing I would say is whoever has the administrative password, as I understand it, the way that free host works is they can populate it. If somebody says, hey, I'm speaking next week, and maybe they don't have internet access, you could put their name down, and that way people will start seeing that more and more of the roles are populated ahead of time, and that will encourage them to go to the website and say, hey, I want to do my 3rd speech, and I see next week we already have 3 speakers. I'm going to do it in 2 weeks, and then they go and we can plug it in.
But then that would require somebody to go after somebody, like say April's speaking next week, or she's going to speak in a couple of weeks. What is your speech going to be about? What's the title of your speech, what is the summary of your speech, and what number is it?
But the thing is, if you're the Toastmaster, you will see, and you're the only one